Alrighty, welcome back everyone, it is LaughNgamez here. Today we're back with another Starcraft 2 1 vs 1 replay cast. Today we have ourselves a Terran versus Protoss on the map Frost, and honestly I'm really excited for the cast we have today, as it is between two amazing players. The first, spawning down the bottom left hand side of the map, it is our Terran player in the red, playing for Team Jin Air Green Wings. It is Maru. Maru throughout 2015 and even in 2016, even though he hasn't had the best year, is known as one of the top Terran players, one of the top Terran players out there right now. So always going to put on good games. And his opponent, Deer, playing for Team Samsung Galaxy, the blue Protoss, having a lot of success lately, doing very well in tournaments and everything. And now this is actually a tournament match. It's from a qualifier for the WESG. So it should be a very good match between these two players. Gonna be playing their hardest. Now, we have cross spawns right now, so already this is gonna be looking like it's gonna favor Deer a bit, as generally Terran wants to be putting on the aggression, and for a guy like Maru who's known for his aggression and drops, Deer's gonna be very grateful that he's spawning in the as far away as possible from Maru. It's gonna allow him to play safe, it's gonna allow him to have more time to react to what Maru is doing, and Maru not going to be too happy about this, but there's always a chance that a Terran player can get something done regardless of their spawns. Well, anyway, so Reaper coming out of Maru looks like it's going to be a standard Reaper expand here on a 4-player map, completely normal, whereas Deer's going for a Nexus after Gateway. So knowing that there's not going to be like a super quick Reaper getting into his base, not going for that Cyber Core first. But so both players are going to be playing it sort of like the standard macro builds right now, just knowing what's going on. Deer is the player who's currently moving out for a scout. Maru isn't yet, so Deer's just moving out, gonna see what's going on. Well, obviously he hasn't seen anything just yet, as he's just moving out with a scout. He's now gonna see where Maru's spawning, but Maru's Reaper might actually catch us. No, Maru's Reaper's going up north. And actually, look at this. When I was selecting Deer's vision, you just see how fast he's just spamming keys, and just basically just how fast he's playing, how fast these guys are playing right now. Deer, his probe is going to get in here. It's going to get a scout. Just going to see the reactored barracks, and it might actually start harassing this SCV. No, it's going to head home, as it wants to try and avoid getting killed by Maru's Reaper. Meanwhile, Deer following this up with a Stargate, completely normal on a map like this in this matchup, as it just allows the Protoss player to have good control of the map with a Stargate, and it forces the Terran to react, and it sort of keeps the Terran occupied. Now, Maru's Reaper might get into the base and scout this. Deer a bit out of position. He doesn't have a mothership core. He doesn't have a mothership core yet, as he just got a very quick Oracle here, foregoing the mothership core for this, and now he's paying the price right now. Maru's getting in with this Reaper. He's starting to pick off probes. He's killed off 3 probes with this Reaper, and he might get a 4th. He doesn't quite get a 4th, but that was 3 probes that went down there. Deer's not going to be too happy about that, and the Stargate was also scouted, so Maru's going to be feeling good about himself. Just Deer tried to play greedy. He tried to get out a super quick Oracle, and some Protoss players, they go for a mothership core before an Oracle, and they generally do before that Stargate, but Deer paid the price. He had 2 adepts, but both of them were out of position, and that Reaper is going to be making Maru feel very good about himself right now. You see 5 Marines out at the front for Maru, killing off the scouting probe for Deer. That's actually 6 Marines there, so the magic number to hold off an Oracle. Now Maru knows there's an Oracle on the way, and he's just sort of moving back and forth, wanting to be in position. I believe he has a Widow Mine burrowed here. Yeah, he actually has 2 Widow Mines burrowed in each of his bases right now. The Oracle for Deer coming and getting 1 SCV. Players like Deer so good, they can always spot where the Widow Mine is burrowed from its shadow. So not going to lose that Oracle to one of Maru's Widow Mines. We now see this Oracle coming back around for another go at it. This Widow Mine is burrowed, but Maru is adjusting it right now, so it could give the Oracle a bit of room to come in. Deer is going to see the Widow Mine. He's actually going to dart past it, going to kill off the SCV, building a supply depot. Might get another one. Yes, he does. So far, there's 2 SCVs. Oh, Deer playing it so risky, darting into that Widow Mine range. Liberator coming out at this, so going to shoo away this Oracle. Oracle, though, going into the main base of Maru, getting more and more kills here. It's actually up to 7 kills. Not going to get an 8th there, as it is running out of energy now. Meanwhile, Maru moving across the map for a drop here. He's got a handful of Marines. I believe that's actually 10 Marines here. A bit of an odd number for a drop, as a medevac can only hold 8. He's going to try and put on the pressure, looking for a third base at the closer base. Usually when Protoss is on this map, they have a choice. Do you want to have the base that can be dropped easier, or do you want to have the base that's closer to your opponent? Each has its benefits, each has its flaws. For a player like Deer, who's got a Stargate, he's pretty safe to defend from drops, and this actually drop from Maru could get shut down hard. Liberator sieging up from Maru, but all the Marines going down to so many Adepts for Deer. Deer had 5 Adepts, and 5 Adepts definitely beats 10 Marines, even with Medivac support. Maru gonna sort of panic drop 2 Marines into the middle line for Deer, trying to get anything he can. Lifts off the Marines to save them from the Oracle, but in the end they are all gonna go down to this drop, and Maru accomplished nothing there. And I'd say that Deer had a poor start, losing 3 probes to that Reaper, but Maru just did a drop and it did absolutely nothing, so that's sort of evening up this game. It's giving Deer complete control of this game right now. If Deer hadn't lost those 3 probes, he'd be in an outstanding position. Deer does have 2 Oracles, so he can always sort of try and go for some harassment. Right now, he doesn't have a Robo up, so he is keeping one of them at home. So smart to deal with a potential Widowmine drop using that Revelation, whereas one of them is sort of keeping the pressure on Maru. Could go down to this Widowmine, though. So close is that Widowmine to that Oracle. Anyway, we have a 3rd CC up for Maru. Tanks, Cyclone, really well defended right now. Got Marines everywhere. Widowmine's absolutely everywhere. It's literally a minefield for these Oracles. The 3rd base, though, for Deer is quite well saturated. He's got an economy lead. Maru always has the mules to sort of keep him in this game a bit. Throwing up missile turrets as well, just helping with potential DTs, but more importantly, keeping back that Oracle that was never actually cleaned up. Maru dropping lots of mules as well, floating over his 3rd base. So with the mules, he's actually sort of equal on income right now, and he's going to try and put on more pressure in the future, likely, as the Terran player still wants to be aggressive, even if they are at an equal economic standing. Deer going for a robotics bay. The question is, are we going to see Disruptors or Colossus here? Protoss have been going for Colossus lately, and even though Colossus were nerfed a bit in Legacy of the Void, actually a bit of a significant nerf, and that's actually why we don't see them, they definitely have room in this matchup, that's for sure, as it can really put Terran in an awkward situation if there's just 1 or 2 Colossus and then mass Adepts or something, as it can force them to commit into Vikings or take bad trades. So Colossus are still very effective, but Deer could simply go Disruptors. It's really up to him. It's really his playstyle. Versus a player like Maru, though, I wouldn't recommend going for... I mean, versus a player like Maru, it's so hard to say what Deer should go for, as Maru has impeccable micro, and so he could simply dodge Disruptor shots. But then again, he spent pretty much all of 2015 killing Colossus. That's basically how he became very popular and found his success. Although Deer is going for Colossus right now. Simply 1 Robo, though, so not going to be mass Colossus or anything yet. +1 is on the way. Upgrade's very important if you are going for a Colossus-based composition. Blink on the way, so Deer started playing it in old school style, and Phoenix are also well. So this is a bit of a Phoenix Colossus composition, and this is just such a tough composition. Even though it's not quite as strong as it used to be, it's a very tough composition. I'm gonna actually pick up a Widowmine that an observer had found moving in. Gonna possibly pick up an SCV. Phoenix gonna possibly go down to the Cyclone, even lifting off the Cyclone there does Deer to break the lock on. Very well done by Deer. This observer seeing the move out for Maru. This is a fantastic situation right now for Deer. He's building up to this scary late game composition, but Maru can always get damage done by getting something like a drop off on the Colossus, getting them out of position, pulling Deer out of position, and this is where Deer opens himself up for aggression here. He's taking a 4th base, so this is going to allow him to be split up. Deer, this is actually so cool. This is the Legacy of the Void Collector's Edition Colossus Purifier skin. Now, most pros don't really play with skins as far as I'm aware, and that's because most Korean tournaments, and these guys are Korean, so KESPA, the organization, actually doesn't usually allow pros to play with skins like this on, but Deer is representing that Purifier Colossus skin. Gonna be able to kill Maru in style. Those Adepts also have their skin on. I guess Deer enjoys something fancy to look at while he's practicing. Anyway, Maru very dug in defensively here. He's got Liberators and tanks, mines burrowing up. He can siege these Liberators for defense. Deer is moving out and could possibly go for an attack here. It's going to be sort of an old school Colossus Blink Stalker attack. But Deer doesn't necessarily need to attack, as Protoss has fantastic late game right now, particularly versus Maru, who's sort of just building up to a large attack, to some large aggression. Maru is getting a Ghost Academy to combat High Templar, and Deer is going for Storm. Deer going for the super scary late game Protoss composition right now. He's getting up a Stargate, he's getting up with another Stargate, he's getting up a Fleet Beacon. So the composition that Deer is going for is going to be Colossus, High Templar, and Tempest. Now, the Tempest, they can shut down Liberators, they can shut down Vikings and force the Terran player to take a bad engagement. The Colossus can sort of prevent the Terran from attacking in, and so does the Storm. So this is going to be very scary for Maru. Deer going to be having exceptional upgrades here. He's going to be getting 3-2, whereas Maru is just finishing up his 2-2. So Maru will have a bit of an upgrade window for a short period of time. He's getting these ghosts, and he might actually just go for a large attack. This has been a very macro-oriented game from these players. The Phoenix for Deer are just flying around. They've certainly been banged up once or twice. And Maru's actually going to move in. He might catch one of them. I think he is. Yes, he gets one of the Phoenix hits too. Deer, I guess, isn't too focused on these right now, and actually bleeds up all the Phoenix. But Deer's not concerned. When you lose your Phoenix and you have Tempest on the way, you're not too worried. Right now, Deer moving out on the map. He needs to be careful. Now, Maru is up on supply, 20 supply higher, and there's lots of ghosts out on the field for Maru. He's actually got 5 ghosts, and he's producing in more. So a few good EMPs, and Deer could be in a very tough situation. Deer did only build up to 2 Colossus, and there's no Vikings for Maru, so Deer could do with more Colossus, honestly. And no more are on the field. He's throwing money into lots of cannons right now, but if he's investing into all this defense, he shouldn't be moving out like this. I don't think, at least. He sees Maru moving out, and Deer is going to decide to pull back. He's sending out a few Adepts for some harassment, as you don't want to have these Adepts in your army, but Deer is so exposed right now, he needs to pull back. Throwing out a Storm, cycling gets a lock on an Adept. Deer is in a tough situation. Look at this army. This is a tiny army. Where's all of Deer's supply? He's got 70 workers, so he's down on supply. Yeah, great feedback from Storm on the army, but a lot of Deer's forces getting impeded. He has another Colossus and a Warp Prism that he picked up. He's warping in more depths as he's sort of panicking. He's got a fist base on the way. These Templar are going to be so critical for the Storm, and Archon eating Liberator shots. The Tempest are here so they can start to work away on these Liberators and sort of shut down Maru's push over time. But Deer is not in the best situation right now. We see the Tempest working away on the Liberators here, shutting it down, but Maru's just going to go for an attack. Deer's army so clumpy, EMPs could go down. Deer pulling back the High Templar is so very important. Stalker's starting to work away on these Liberators, but right now, Deer's army is starting to go down. Maru, fantastic concave on top of this army. 4 Tempests are out for Deer. Storm is going down on top of all of this bio. Great defense from Deer with this Storm, but he's lost the vast majority of the army. His Tempests are starting to go down. They don't do much versus bio. EMP and Marauders managed to pick off the 2 High Templar that were coming down. The Tempests are starting to go down. Lots of Adepts warping in. Deer, great control on this one Colossus, keeping it alive, but it spent a bit too long in the Warp Prism. The bio from Maru is very, very red. He doesn't actually have that much, and it seems that Deer is going to clean up this attack and take a supply lead. That was very close for Deer, but he did manage to push Maru back right now. But Deer, he needs to start making more Colossus. He can't just start masking Tempest. He needs to warp in more High Templar, because Maru is certainly going to be ready for round 2. He's on 3 bases. He wants to keep the aggression going. 3-3 on the way for Maru. Deer does have an upgrade lead right now, and that's likely what helped him hold that attack, even though he didn't have the best army supply. Adepts are a large part of Deer's composition, and they're not going to be too effective later on into this game. More Templar are morphed in, so this is very important. They're building up energy for Storm. Deer is going to want to keep them spread out later on, though, as Maru could get some fantastic EMPs. 5th base up for Deer, but it's got 2 cannons in a very odd position right now. I guess this probe wanted to build some fancy, I don't know, shrine or something. Those cannons don't look like they're going to be too effective right now. Deer actually aiming for a 5th, for a 6th base it seems, but there's not much at this base to defend it from this drop of Maru, and Maru's going to move and he's going to shred these cannons. Yes, they're going to shoot once or twice, but now the Nexus is completely exposed as they are going down. So Deer is going to lose a large portion of his mining. Now, players haven't been on... They're actually starting to mine out a fair bit, as Deer has been playing this macro-oriented for a long time. So yes, while you have lots of money, you get the tech quickly. you do mine out later, and that is a bit of a consequence. Just looking at the resources lost, Deer has actually lost more, so he's lost more resources in this game. Right now, he's sort of going on a mad goose chase for Maru's drop right now. He's getting a Marauder or two, but he's completely out of position as a result. Deer is moving down. He is going to secure another Nexus. Well, he's going to put one up right now. Few Adepts moving in to start cleaning up these Marauders, but this is a 3-3 bio, which will be very effective. There's 2 DTs for Deer, which is starting to work away. Does so much damage to bio. Maru not scanning, losing these Marauders, which is very expensive loss, losing that much bio. Maru does lift off, but that was a very good defense from Deer. Maru floating over a CC that Tempest somehow found. I don't know how this situation unfolded. I guess Maru is looking for a potential 5th base, but that's going to get shut down. Actually floated over his main. And look at this, we could be entering a base trade situation right now. As Deer's completely out of position right now. He needs to get all his units back together, but these Templar are so slow, they're not going to be able to move it back. Maru's pushing up, looking for the 5th base, which is not being rebuilt there. He's going to push into the 4th base of Deer. Deer just has a Colossus and a few Adepts, so this supply is basically dead. DTs are coming down, are going to be very effective in the defense. Maru doesn't pay attention. Photon Overcharge does go down, and now Maru's actually taking off a good amount of this drop right now. A massive Widowmine field. 4 Widowmines getting good connections there. Storm goes down, going to pick off 3 of them for 2 Storms. 1 Widowmine, though, still there. Deer, he's in a good situation right now, but his economy needs to be saved. He needs to secure this 5th base. If he doesn't, he's going to be in a very dire situation, as his 3rd base is mined out. His natural pretty much completely mined out. His main base almost mined out. So really, he just has this 1 base that... So Deer's not in the best situation. Deer is actually moving out for an attack right now, but once again, Deer's only on 3 Colossus, and one of them is just moving across the map. I think Deer could have gone for maybe 4 or 5 Colossus, and that would have forced Maru to commit to more Vikings. Or, if Deer had taken the time to make these Colossus, I know he was in sort of a dire situation, but I can't be criticizing right now as Deer is starting to kill off this 4th base of Maru. He's forcing him to bolt. Now, these Adepts don't do too much damage to this command center as it's being repaired. Colossus shredding these SCVs. Storm goes down to kill off those SCVs and slow the repair. High Templar, very weak units, and Maru could sort of suicide in this army, and if he picks off the High Templar, that would actually be a massive pick-off, because then Maru's other drops could sort of go unchallenged. Now Deer's losing his 3rd base. His 4th base is going to come under a lot of pressure. There is, though, so many cannons, Mothership Core, Archons as well. 3 Archons, actually a very scary amount, but we see these 2 Colossus for Deer are exposed, and Maru doing what Maru does best, is starting to pick off these Colossus, and now Deer is down to 1 Colossus, so his ground army is not too scary anymore. It sort of lost that amazing flat damage which the Colossus provided, and Maru's sort of just been building as much as he can at home. Right now we see Deer 160 supply to a 116 of Maru, so Maru definitely behind, but not as much as it actually looks. He can't be losing units to these DTs, though. Maru's just down on worker supply, but neither player is really mining right now. Maru pushing to the north of that 4th base, pulling Deer apart right now. Very well done. The Storm is going to go down, connect with a few of these Marauders, but is it going to get any kills? It kills off a decent amount. These Medivacs are going to have their work cut out for healing them. But Deer's right, Maru right now is just pushing both sides of Deer. Going to kite this 1 Archon back. This Archon killing off 2 Marauders, not the worst trade right there, but if Deer could just kill off these 2 Marauders, it would be such a massive pickoff. But right now we see Deer starting to ransack the main base of Maru. Maru floating buildings off. He needs to float these CCs if he wants to engage in a full-on base trade. But Deer has DT tech. I don't think Maru is going to be able to pull this one out. He's starting to work away on the 4th base and sort of pulling Deer apart. But no, GG is called as Deer manages to take the game. Very well played by Maru there. But ultimately Deer managed to win out Maru, trying to pull Deer apart, but ultimately Deer's defense was so good. When you have a player that's attacking both sides of a 4th base, it's very tough to defend, but Deer managed to pull that off. Deer just so well had a DT chasing down these CCs, as DT is a very effective tool to win a base trade, and he knew that. But regardless, Deer ended the game with a lot more supply than Maru, so that's all there is to it. Anyway, if you guys have enjoyed the cast, feel free to leave a like. If you enjoy my sort of content, feel free to subscribe, as I'm always putting out more and more StarCraft 2 casts. Otherwise, I shall see you guys next time.